All right. We're gonna get rolling to this. So, I was just saying, I met Ray the night before we started at Net in Orlando this year, and I actually met him and his son, who just started with a job. I guess when January was that, Ray? So a month before.
Yep, month before.
And so he was also at Net because he had a 10K fast start, and he came to the conference. I met both of them. We were actually crossing the street together. I was like, got in the restaurant, got our table, like, hey, you want to join us for dinner? So we had dinner. It was with me, them, and Devin Haig. And I hate hyperbole, but I may have gotten more from that hour-long conversation with Ray than I got the entire night. And believe me, I got a ton from it. You guys know I've been preaching this the whole time, but as in actionable steps that we've been doing as a division, there's probably going to be a couple things Ray might mention. You're going to go, oh, that's where Rob got that. Okay. Because it's just the language and the attitude that has made a difference for us in the past months. So Ray, I know you won't know what our numbers are, but we've had a very good time since Net as a team.
Awesome.
Like we're turning heads across Canada right now, and questions are being asked, and my phone is blowing up every day about with people asking stuff. So I will definitely give you a lot of credit for that. But just to give you some background, I asked him for a bit of a bio. So he's been in the business now. I guess you started the same time Martin did. So you're started 28th of July. Martin, did you know what day you started?
I'd have to call and ask
So we're not doing that.
Olean
Okay.
exactly. Okay.
It's actually on your Vector Connect page.
Oh, there you go. So these guys both start in the same month, which is
I will
awesome.
check.
Right? And he started in Cincinnati, and his career sales, he's just approaching $3.5 million in career sales right now. And his two major things, which is what we're about, is trade shows and also service events. So he says he does about 24 trade shows a year. So duplicates about the same in trade events because he tries to do one right after every event, which now you see where I got that from. So that's awesome. I also asked about favorite places he's been to with Vector so far. So Aruba, Cabo, San Lucas, and Cancun. So things he decided about growing this year. So he mentioned business gifts, cookware, and also more service events than he's done before. And he's getting to his milestone of $4 million in his career. So and having an opportunity to work with his son at the booth as well in the upcoming trips. Also hobbies, so he spends time with his family. So he's a father of three children. So we already mentioned RJ, who's just got started. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get the other two selling Cutco as well at some point. So he's got his second son Drew and then daughter Lydia. He's been married for 18 years to his wife Deanna, and also loves riding his Harley. Um, as well as hunting and outdoors and outdoor activities as well. So he's going to be talking today about just kind of setting expectations for service events, which of course I mentioned is going to be a big focus for us here. So here's one more thing before we kind of get rolling, guys. What I wanted to mention was with notes, what I would suggest is either create one note, like one document. I have mine online for these meetings that we do, everything you can follow along and then that we can go back to it no matter where you're at. Okay. All my net meetings are on one thing, all of my calls for this are on one thing. Everything is in one single spot. So I don't have to keep looking for my notes that I do. But let's take a ton of notes, guys. We'll have time for Q&A afterwards, so try not to interrupt. This is being recorded for two other divisions plus people who couldn't make it in tonight, guys. But everybody, please give a warm welcome to Ray Sumner joining our events team meeting tonight. All right, Ray, go ahead.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Guys, thanks for the opportunity to share some of my nuggets today. One of the main focuses that I want to focus with you guys on is making sure that we capitalize all of the opportunities that we get at trade shows. I've noticed some trends since this year that all of our trade shows have actually been down in attendance. So the sales results have not been the same compared to previous years. And one of the main focuses that I did last year, and I pretty much implemented it again this year in my growth, was I wanted to work less shows, but also have more opportunities to sit in front of customers. So the major push was, how am I going to get those opportunities? One, I've got past customer business, but opportunities where customers have walked up to the booth. Oh, I've got Cutco, I love it. And then they walk off. And we don't get that information. So one of the main focus pushes that I did last year and how my business grow to eliminate less shows to do was asking every single customer to draw them to the booth, whether they're going to, walking by or whatever, is to sign my happy customer list. And then once they do that, regardless if they want to buy or not, I ask them, have they heard of the new program called the service events that we're doing now? And they're like, no, what's that? Well, instead of doing house visits, we actually rent out a conference room and have you come to a sharpening event. We sharpen them while you wait and get an opportunity to introduce you to some new things. But and then if there's anything that has to go back to the factory, instead of you boxing it up, Mrs. Jones, we actually box it up and send it off for you. So the main push, if I've not sold somebody at a show, is to get their information and get a second chance at them. And that's actually tremendously increased my opportunity to see more people. I average anywhere from 15 to 18 people that show up at my service events on average, and pop off anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 on average at my service events. So I look at service events as another layer of my business, and I missed out on opportunities in the past by not getting those individuals, even though I brought them over to the booth and tried to sell them and they just weren't ready or whatever, and was able to convert them into sales as well. The other thing is to take advantage of, even if you do sell somebody at the booth, sign them up for a service call event, telling them that you're going to follow up with them. So typically I sell somebody something that's going to force them to do an upgrade. So I'll sell them smaller packages at the booth when they come to my service event. Pardon me, when they come to my service event, I end up upgrading them, and it makes the upgrade a lot easier as well. The expectations that I set for the clients, and this is where it's really important to say this, is, Mrs. Jones, have you heard of our new program called our service event program? It's new for Cutco. I've only been doing it personally for the last 4 years. We've done house visits, Mrs. Jones, but technically the warranty states that you're supposed to send all of your Cutco knives in. So what we do is we set up a booth like this at a hotel conference room. And then what we do is we sharpen your knives for you, and you bring all of your Cutco into us. We'll sharpen whatever we can. Anything that we can't sharpen, we'll send off to the factory for you. Now, I also tell them, this is the expectation that you need to tell them, is I'm going to entice you to buy something. Majority of the clients tell me when I say that to them, oh, I kind of expected that. But if they don't give me their information, then they're not worth signing up anyway. So the questions that I ask is, one, I ask them for their address so I can check ROR before I actually invite them to an event. So that's important. Ask them for their cell phone number, and then ask them for their email address. And then this is the important part. What I tell them is, I'm going to reach out to you 2 ways. I live in Kentucky, so I will live in this particular area, ABC time, or I'll tell them when I'm going to host my next event. What I will do is I will reach out to you via text and via email. I'm not going to chase you down, Mrs. Jones, and I'll reach out to you that way. But I can tell you from past experiences, when I do host events like this, my service events typically fill up in within 30 minutes. So once you get that text or that email, make sure that you sign up right away. And then I do not use texting base. I actually give the list to my daughter, and she's a lot quicker in texting than I am. And then she texts everyone. And then the text that I send out to everyone is Cutco sharpening event info, click link below, and then I tag my Calendly link to that specific event. And then that's what I send out. One, the reason I don't use texting base is because every time somebody clicks on it or it goes to, I found that it doesn't always reach everybody. Secondly, if they respond, you get charged for that response. I'd rather them contact me directly through my phone. I just give my daughter my phone and she texts them. But I also consider, instead of me driving everywhere, I'll do a sharpening event, even if there's 6 people or less. I did one yesterday and sold $7,000. Had 5 people show up. There was supposed to be a 6th one scheduled. I went 4 for 5 for just shy of $7,200 yesterday. And by doing this, I also look at my results. And this is a show that I did not do this year because I was in Madrid, but I typically do a sharpening event every year that I am in that area. So since I wasn't at the event when I was in Madrid, I did a sharpening event instead and still gained $7,200. So it's actually doubled my CPO and sales per event because of the backup of sharpening. And what I've done too is also committed myself to every show that I work, I stay an extra day and host a sharpening event. So that's how I've grown my business. That's pretty much the legits of what I do, Rob. If there's anything else that you want me to add or they have questions, I'll be happy to answer.
No, that's all. Why don't we do questions first? So I already know Martin's hand is up, even though I don't know his hand is up, but I know it's there. Why don't we start with that? Like questions, Martin.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. My hand is up. I was going to officially put it up, but Ray, that was super awesome. I will find out what day I started in July of 1987. That'd be cool to know. One of the questions I was going to have for Rob, but I think I'm going to direct it to you, Ray, is we've had great momentum with our team here in Maple Leaf in March. Something unique has happened where we're learning the new script and we're closing better, we're cutting less food. But the service events, I have just established at a local golf course here in Ottawa, a partnership where I can do several events each week if I want. And this is places right off the highway, so people can come from all sides of town. My question to you, Ray, is how do we build momentum? Like the shows may be, we're in show season now, but I want to be able to build service calls where I'm doing events 2, 3, 4 times a week, every week, except when, Joanna and I are on vacation with our family. What would you recommend to continue? I want to follow in your footsteps to build out service events, whether I have a show or not. And I'd like to figure out, like, we're going to, look at people who requested service in Ottawa, but other ways. Do I put my face on a bus, on the side of a bus, Ray, and say, do you have Cutco? Come, call Martin and Joanna. Like, what do I do to make this service business liquid, fluid, and consistent? So open and humble to hear your thoughts.
Well, one, are all of you on Vast Action? If you're not using Vast Action, that's a mistake on you. So the one when I send the emails out, I run a query of, like, I'm doing one Thursday. Now, I've not been in this area for almost 3 years because I've had other events going on. I've already got 12 people scheduled. I sent out an email, and then from my query that I ran on Vast Action, and then I had some people that actually signed up at other events that I wasn't, that were out of area from where I hosted my event. So I said, hey, I'm going to do a sharpening event in Findlay, Ohio, probably towards the end of March. So be on the lookout for that. And then every person that actually signed up at the show are actually scheduled for Thursday. And then if I don't plug those people in, then I tell everybody that it goes out to the masses. So I typically do, depending on how many people are in that radius when I run a query, if there's 50 or more, then I'll bump it out. And I typically do, like, Martin, to answer your question, I do about a 20-mile radius from whatever location I'm at. And then if there's 50 or less, then I'll bump it out to 30 miles. I've actually had people drive 60 miles to come see me. So it just depends on, again, how you set it up. Because I tell them I'm not in this area all the time, or I might be in this particular area once or twice a year. So when I send out these emails or texts, make sure that you get on that list. I had a lady respond earlier today. She goes, I saw your email, but I can't make it this time. Can you put me on the next go round? So I made notes in my database on Vast Action to update that to make sure that she is on that list. I also, because my clientele base, and this is one of my coworkers has a problem with the same people keep showing up at his service events all the time and they don't buy, so they're taking up time slots. I tell my clients, because now if you're newer to the business, maybe invite them every year. Once they've established that coming every year, bump it out to, now, Mrs. Jones, I need to see you every 3 years. So I don't have that problem of every time, my time slots get filled up with older customers. When I say older customers, the 3 years or more. So I don't have them come every year, because you don't want those people coming to spin the wheels and not having an opportunity to sell. You want new bodies in there. So you have to create your own buying habits too with the clients and how the service call program works. So you have to set that expectation of you're going to see me, and after we turn these in and get them shipped off, mark in your calendar. I'll make sure that I put you in my calendar about every 3 years. We should see one another. But you don't need to come to my service event every single year unless you want to actually add to your collection or you want to learn more about knives. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's really good. When you do the query, because we are on Vast Action, be curious, maybe see an example of the email or the text program that you send out. But do you do a service call inquiry in general of the area from Olean? To get other people that have requested service in that area. You do
I
anything with headquarters that way?
I don't, just because my clientele base is so large with being in the business, and yours should be up there too. I mean, I've got over 8,000 customers in my database.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Now my issue is I was one of the first, Ray. What area? Let me ask Ray, what area are you in?
I live in Kentucky, but I service Ohio and used to run Michigan. I was the coordinator in Michigan as well. So I've got clients basically in 3 states.
Yes, that's amazing. So my client base, I have about half of what you have, like 4,000 clients, but they're in the United States because I started in Connecticut, then
Okay.
went to Virginia. Remember, I was first transplant student,
Yeah.
went to Howard University in Virginia. I mean, in Washington, D.C. So Maryland, Virginia, D.C. is where most of my clients are. I have about 1,000 clients here in Ottawa, and my wife Joanna has about 3,000 clients here in Ottawa. So
Okay.
you think we should focus on those 4,000 clients and really get Vast Action to send? Okay, so you're shaking your head.
No,
Correct
no,
me, coach
you,
me.
sh-
I'm
you, sh-
ready.
you should make road trips like going back home to the States. Like I'm going to spend
Okay.
3 days. I'm going to spend 3 days on the west side of Michigan twice a year, and then 3 days on the east side of Michigan because I don't get up there because I don't do shows very much up there anymore. So you should, like, we got a couple of people on our team that, well, Matt Olson, he lived in Utah. He goes back once a year just and spends a week in Utah. Josh Moeller, he goes up to Michigan because he's originally from Michigan, spends a week up in Michigan, does service calls, service events. Jason Jeffries does too. You're leaving money
Wow.
on the table.
So those
So
3,000 clients are 4,000 clients in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I've never done a road trip. I know Rob wants me to stay in Canada, but I'm just overall just understanding the whole program.
yeah,
Wow.
I was one that bucked the system, and then after I have not. Here's the other thing, guys, too, is I don't make any phone calls to customers anymore. I send out texts and emails. That's it. I have not spent time on the phone for the last 3 years now because I use the service event program versus making house visits because I don't need to talk to them. Because the one, Vast Action has an email that you can send out to your clients. You just call Amy and ask her for the service call email, and then you can duplicate that and use that over and over and over and over. Now, hopefully you guys know this too, but it also shows you who's clicked on that and tells you who's opened it if they're looking to sign up. Did you guys know that?
I can tell you with absolute certainty, Ray, we are very behind on on the ability of using. We have Vast Actions that sends out our monthly emails.
Right?
Aside from that, I know personally, and I'm gonna guess Martin is the same because he's just getting onto it as well. None of us are fully utilizing the power of Vast Action the way we should be.
Yeah. So when you send out a monthly newsletter, if you go to your dashboard on Vast Action, you can, and then it'll show you what's been sent out, and then you can click on the number of. It'll tell you unique hits, or if it's been, that they stopped subscribing or whatever. It tells you what your open rate is. The main focus is to be over, like, almost shoot for like 40% of open, and mine's 42%, and that's high.
Right. Right. This is amazing. Like, I think you and Rob just hit something. We probably need training on how to use Vast Action. I know we've got it, but Rob is right. We are not using it. Like, if it's a
Oh,
Ferrari, we're just like washing one little wheel, and like we were not even in the car. We're just looking and washing a little bit on the outside. We're washing the trunk. We haven't got in the car. Like this is blowing my mind. Like the fact that you said I should be doing road trips and I'm neglecting my 3 or 4 thousand clients in Maryland, Virginia, and DC,
Oh,
and my 1,000
you
clients.
are leaving money on the table, Martin. It's like picking ducks off of a pond. It's crazy. I mean, it's one because and the other thing is too with my service events, I tried 30 minutes, I tried an hour, 45. If you don't have somebody sharpening for you, I sharpen myself. 30 minutes is too short, an hour is too long because there was too much of a gap. 45 minutes is good for me to still sharpen and still upsell. You're leaving money on the table. It's easy pickings, and like I said, Vast Action has where you can do it in multiples. Like when I'm going to do the west side of the state in Michigan, I'm going to put these are the 3 locations I'm going to be at, so they can click any one of those 3 locations. If they can't make one, they can make another because they're all within like 40 minutes of one another. But that gives them 3 days to choose from. Or if you're going to be there at one location for 2 days. And I mean, it's the time efficiency. I mean, I'm very good on the phone, but I don't like making phone calls. So that's why I'll give my daughter a list of, hey, I need these people texted, but I'll send out the email because I run that query. If I don't have more than 50 people in that area, then I'm going to bump it up mileage wise. Maybe I'll do 10. And if less than that, and I always tell people, if you got 100 to 150 people, then schedule 2 days or be ready to schedule a second day, depending on how quickly they sign up as well. Like I did
Ray,
one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you finish. You keep throwing out the knowledge. Keep going.
So like I did an art fair last year, and I signed people up at the booth direct scheduled. So I'm going to be in town an extra day after the event. Would you like to get your knife sharpened? Like, they walk up to you and say, well, I need to get my knife sharpened. Okay, well, great. Where do you live? Oh, I live here in town. Well, I'm actually staying an extra day. Would you like me to check my schedule? I'm hosting a sharpening event out at the Hampton Inn, and I know I've only got a couple morning times left and a couple evening times left. Would you like me to check? And then I direct schedule them right there, pull up my calendar and schedule them right there at the event. Didn't even have to make a phone call. If they can't, then, well, I'm going to be back in this area within the next 4 months. So I'll say, late June or whatever. But then you need to get all their information, their address, their phone, ask for cell number. That's important. And then their email address, because you can't send a text to a home number.
Yeah, I've started to do that. Even when we get like any of our service call events, even on the sheet, I put cell phone number. Only once. I even asked them, is that your home or your cell phone? I've started to do that, right? And
yeah,
then
I
also,
ask for cell. I don't even ask for home.
Yeah, right. Just cell phone number only. And I'm finding out just what you're saying is true. Most people don't pick up the phone anyway. I will call a client 2 times and I'll send them a text and then they'll respond instantly.
Yep.
I'm like, what is going on?
Yep.
Like they
Modern
don't even
technology.
respond to phone calls.
Yep. Remember when we used to carry quarters, didn't use a paper?
This is amazing, right? I'm so grateful Rob put you on the call. Let me ask, how much do you pay for your hotel? Like I've got this thing at Pineview set up, and that's taken a long time for me and Rob to get one.
That's a great question.
But when I go different places, yeah.
I typically will use Holiday Inns because they've got Holiday Inn Expresses, because they've got like a little side room to where you can fit at least 2 people to do a sharpening event there. They charge me $100. I don't go past $150. That's taxes and fees and everything. The way I negotiate that is we're trying to grow our client base. And this is what you're typically talking to a sales manager. This is the first time that we've ever used your hotel before. So if it goes well, we're probably going to do this about 3 to 5 times minimum, and use your facility because it's easy access for our clients to find you. My company, though, only allows me to spend maximum of $150 with tax and fees out the door. Like the one that I just did the other day, he wanted $300, and I was like, oh, I just kind of laughed, and I was like, I can't do that. But your location is a prime location. We're going to draw business to your hotel, if successful. But my company only allows me to spend $150 out the door. Can you get any? I think it was charged me with tax and fees $148.99. How's that? I said perfect.
I think that's I guess the question for that is, do you use larger hotels, smaller hotels? Like, what do you typically go?
I'll do Hampton Inns. I'll do Marriott Courtyards, and then I piggyback. I also tell the clients too that I just did a service event in another town, and this is what they allow me to have the room for. So I'll tell them, this is what I don't like to use the big Marriott chains and all that because they typically charge more, Rob.
Yeah. Yeah, we sort of made that mistake last week with the service event.
How much did they charge you?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
Okay. You're like,
no,
It was a holiday.
Budget that I have to do.
I'm not telling. No,
Tell us.
No, this is recorded. I'm not saying squat.
Now the other thing is too is I tell them it's an easy setup. So like if there's 2 people doing the sharpening event, I'll just need a total of 4 tables and 12 chairs. I'm sorry, 6 chairs, or no, 8 chairs total. I'm sorry. So typically I set the tables up in an L configuration, 2 seats in front where the clients can sit. I'm behind the L, and then same setup for the other person. And then we have a couple chairs in the outer area so that like people as they're walking in can sit down. And then I'll ask for a water station. If they don't have a water station, that's okay, but I'll just ask for a water station. I said, we're a pretty easy cleanup. Just need total, if there's 2 people sharpening, I'll just need total of 4 tables and 6 to 8 chairs, and we'll set it up for you. Then once they come in, they're like, oh, just wanted to see what for next time, what it'll look like, and then you're good.
I would say only because Canadian dollars, I would be okay with that bumping up to like $200 Canadian.
You don't have to pay. You don't. Well, no.
150 US.
150 US. Nothing more. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's 200. That's about 200 Canadian. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know what the conversion rate was.
Like it might be 2,000 Canadian.
But start off at 100 US.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Let me ask this, Ray.
Martin's got a sweet deal with his. His is it works to be like 55 US.
Now sometimes I've traded out Cutco too for their kitchens and stuff.
Yeah. So smaller venues are good. Okay.
Ray, you traded what?
I've traded out Cutco with the general managers
For
the room space.
Okay, that's good. Let me ask about sharpening.
Well, let's give everybody else another chance for.
All right, just one more question before I forget.
Let's get Eric right down. Let's see if Carl has a question first. You've asked 3 straight questions. Carl, do you have anything?
No, I'm just taking it all in right now, and things I was gonna ask again. It's just like what's in the email. Like even though it's short, can you repeat it again? Like what do you put in your email or text?
Or what I might do is actually, sorry, Ray. What I might do is actually I'll email you, Ray, about that. So if we get like a template of what you do, because then I can also share that with people watching the recording as well.
Sure.
All right, Martin.
But Vast Action, just so you guys know, Vast Action, I use Vast Action's template for service calls. Just contact Amy. She's got 2 different ones. There's a multi-location one and a single location one. She has those. She can send them and drop them in your inbox. That way you can use the same one. Then you just change the information out every single time. So I use that same one that Vast Action put together because it takes you to the Calendly link. Everything's all spelled out. And then the only thing that you change is the dates and the locations every time you use it. But the text that I send out, it's pretty simple. Cutco sharpening event information. And then I put below, and I do like a little hand signal that goes below, click link for details. And then I attach the Calendly link that I use for my scheduling to that link. And it takes them right to my calendar.
Where does the calendar link come from? Who creates the calendar link?
So it's called Calendly. That's what your appointment scheduler can be used to schedule your appointments. And you have to sign up for that.
Can you put that in the chat?
I can go over that. I can go over that with you, Martin.
I can send that to you as well.
All right, that's great. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, Ray, just friend me on Facebook, Ray. That'd be great.
Okay.
Question about the sharpening. I've heard Cutco Mike, you now talk about having other people sharpen for them. Right now, I do most of the sharpening and my wife will do a lot of the closing. So how do you train somebody, and when do you feel comfortable with somebody else sharpening your Cutco knives, your clients' knives, and how much do you pay them per hour? Could you please break that down?
So typically it's like $100 a day to $150 a day, depending on how much, if they're sharpening for multiple people. But typically it's right around $100 US for the day, depending on how many I have scheduled. I average, like I said, I average anywhere from 15 to 18. I don't like paying somebody to do it. I'd rather have that interaction, and it just allows me to show them why they're using the knives wrong, give them more of an educational experience. So I've done both. I've had better results when I do sharpen myself personally. So that's your call. That's where I tried it for 30 minutes, 45, and an hour. 45 is a good happy medium for me. An hour was too long, and 30 minutes was too less.
Yeah,
Not long.
I just did 45 for the first time. It's tight, but it's comfortably tight. Like it's not like as if you know, the next person is waiting back. They're there 5 minutes early, they wait outside. It's not a big deal, but I did that for the
But it
first.
also forces the person sitting in front of you, oh, you got more clients here, so I better make my decision.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I think there's nothing wrong with like, one comes in and talks, especially if it's your own client. They're chit chatting, selling to each other. So it's kind of cool.
Correct.
I've had that before. So, question was just quick question for everybody because this is a debate topic was, where are you on food cutting?
What do I cut? I typically just cut potatoes, and I'll show the cheese knife and demonstrate the cheese knife if they don't have it.
Okay, that's about the majority of it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So no more buying a whole bunch of
No.
stuff. My attitude was what we changed was I went foodless the entire month of March basically. Other than what 8 grapes I think I cut. Because my attitude if you're cutting up just a couple pieces, they're gonna buy just those pieces. It's not a
Correct.
45-minute demo where I can build value for the whole set. It's a 7-minute demo where I can only do certain things. So um, it's just knowing where I am in terms of with this customer, right? So less food. Okay.
Are you guys also using all the laminated sheets too?
So we got as in like the all the specials and so.
Yes.
So we got
Well, I mean, as far as like the upgrade template, the family program.
yeah. We got those now. Are we good at that part yet? No, because project one for us was to get good at the new customer script, which was a glaring issue for us. So we just got that plus a vast action binder. We've all gotten now like mostly set up. We set up just a couple things we have to put in there, Canadian prices. Next project for us is how to upgrade. So I mean that could be if you have time to go over like what you do there, but how to upgrade. We're got some work to do on cookware. I just did a contest on flatware, which is helping now. We've started to sell flatware. So we're just a very young division as far as the events program concerned.
Okay. As far as selling cookware, I mean, I invested this year on every piece of cookware, and I've sold more cookware this year because of it.
Okay.
So I have
and everything's out on the booth.
everything's out on the booth, and I can send you a photo of what my booth looks like.
I would love a photo of what your booth looks like.
Sure. So, but yes, that's been a major needle mover and actually having it at the events too, at the service events. The upgrade, it's just nine knives of your choice, an extra pair of scissors and the cutting boards, and explain to them what they would get, in that. And I think I showed you the template. Did you get a hold of Chris on the brochures?
I'm talking to them after this about that, but if you can bring it up, go ahead. Carl,
Sure.
Carl knows about it.
Okay. I use the 3-tier template and shows everything that Cutco makes. And when they walk into my service events too, guys and gals, I tell them what's going to happen. So I tell them, what I'm going to do today is sharpen whatever I can. Anything that I cannot sharpen, I'll get off to Cutco for you. The only thing that you'll be responsible for is mailing them back to your house, and that's where the credit card information is about, which is the service call sheet. They fill out the information form. I personally buy RGA tags. I don't charge the customer for getting it to Cutco. It's just a service. Might halfway through the year switch it, but right now you can get RGA tags for like $15 through your on Vector Connect with the service call program. But my customers do pay for return shipping, so I do, charge them for that. But I just tell them that, what I'm going to do is introduce you to some new things, programs. I pull out every customer's, is introduced to the family program. Every customer's talked about the flatware because I have that right in front of me. The upgrade, and then ask every person I ask what they do for a living, and I got that from Philip Tice. I just got a business order 2 days ago. 30 spatula spreaders. I'm having a conversation at my last show.
That's awesome. Yeah, we actually started we're working on the business gift part of asking everybody there too. I got my first show business gift order too 2 weeks ago. But
ask every single customer what they do.
Everyone, yeah. What if even 100 hit it, we're good, right? So quick thing before Carl, and then Carl. And this is gonna sound bad considering that I'm on the service call task force, but we don't do anything with service call event tags. What we do is we go on our order app and enter the service call form, print it right there and have it. So what's the service call event form, and what will be the
So those forms, when you order literature on the service of they're actual forms, and there's 3 copies. There's a white copy that and it comes as a whole kit. Like it gives you blade covers. Do you guys have all of the Cutco blade covers and all that stuff?
We order everything but that form. I've never ordered that form.
Yeah, the form is great because it gives them literature to actually take home. The white copy goes in with all the knives and the bags. The yellow copy is their copy, so they know exactly what you took from them. And then you have the pink copy that has all their information that you can put notes on as well. So there's three copies.
But they're carbon to each other.
Carbons, correct.
So is there advantage to that? Because what I've been doing, I know Carl does, is we fill it out on the order app. We go to service requests, fill out the order app with the event, fill out everything for them, and then they get a copy. I email a copy of that. I save the PDF in my doc as well. But what I'm getting from you is you then have a third copy that you can put notes on, whereas with me, I don't really have that option. So
correct. So I'll put like future purchase. They want 10 fillet knives, or they want something for Jezebel or whoever. So that's notes that I can go back and put in my database.
Okay. And do you actually have a customer at all named Jezebel?
No, I was just threw that name out there.
Just checking, because it'd be awesome. All right. I'll pull that up for you guys so you can see what he's talking about. I'll show it to you afterwards when he's done. Carl, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to go over again because we're still kind of new to the whole upgrading and things like that. I've been trying to upgrade them to like the ultimate or the complete set, but then you're seeing it's just they just pick any 9 knives they want. Is that what you do?
Yeah, so
plus shears?
Anytime the upgrade is 9 knives. It doesn't matter which 9 knives that they pick out. So let's say they don't want a cleaver. They want paring knives instead. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't have to be exactly, a homemaker from a homemaker. Like let's say they've got a galleon, they don't have a butcher knife. So it's 9 knives of their choice, because you get them the bigger block to store everything in, and then they get choice of 4 table knives or 4 steak knives. Don't make it overly confusing. Keep it as simple as possible. And that's what we teach our guys is it's 9 knives of their choice. Now, typically, it's the 9 knives that we show. Don't worry about filling the block up completely. It's just the upgrade is 9 knives, bigger block, 4 table knives or 4 steak knives, and then I'm going to make sure that you get the customer care kit, which is the cutting boards and sharpener.
Do you have are you pricing that out with them, or do you have because I know a lot of people do, there's a set number they give them, say, hey, you pick 9 knives of your choice, it's going to be blank.
I literally used the Vast Action template, and it's going to be around this. Now it might be less. Like I had a customer last night. That the $500 range as far as payments was a push. I said, can you get it down to 300? I said, yeah, we can take the cleaver out, which is the most expensive, and you can add that later and a couple other pieces. And they didn't do, they did 7 knives versus the 9.
Gotcha. So you give them one price, but say it's going to be around this, depending on.
Correct. Give or take, because you already have, the cheese knife already in there. But if you don't have this one, we'll put that instead. So it's 9 knives that you don't have.
So what I'm getting from this as well is you're using the sheet a lot to just kind of give that legitimacy, so they're seeing it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You have to use the sheet.
Okay.
Because it makes it convincible that that's what it is.
Are you using the Vast Action sheets, or do you have separate ones?
Vast Action sheets.
And is your binder set up the way that the video shows us, or do you have it slightly kind of tweaked?
It's pretty much, I've got it tabs in there where it's got all the upgrades together, and so that way I can go to it right away.
Gotcha.
So I've actually put extra tabs in there to find it easier.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Because then what I'll do is I'll literally open up my binder and just pull that specific sheet out, so they're not looking at everything else.
We got some work to do here, guys. We're rearranging.
I love the tabs idea, Ray. That's
Yeah, because that binder's huge, and if you don't know where to go to, then it's you're sitting there thumbing through pages. So I just put extra tabs in there. The steak knife tabs, the outdoor packages, the upgrade packages, the combo packages. I just put extra tabs in there so I can find everything quicker.
We have
the condo packages. The condo packages.
Combo packages. Combo packages.
Okay.
Other questions?
Ray, are you on Facebook? Ray, are you on Facebook?
I am.
I can't find you.
Yeah, I am. I'll friend you there. I'm not on my phone right now, but yeah, I'll find you.
We'll get to that later. We're not recording. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Are we using the Vast Action one, Rob? Like, are we doing what Ray's doing?
Yes, that's what you paid for. Yes.
When you listen, Ray, all Rob did, he was awesome. He just printed out all these brochures, and we all had to put our books together. Some of us were putting our books together at the show.
Gotcha. Been there, done that.
Anyway, so we're just starting. So with Rob, is what you printed out from Vast Action? Because I never knew where you got it from.
Read the bottom.
And where's the video?
We'll get to that later, Martin. I'll show you.
That's also on Vast Action. It shows you how to set up your book.
I'll show you. You have it there. Okay. Okay. Carl, anything else?
Does Joanna have a question?
Even though they're 10 feet from each other.
No,
guys, thank you so much for allowing me to
Sorry, guys.
We live on the 200-acre farm, Ray. So she's on the other side of the farm.
It's all good.
Walking the dog.
All right. Well, I will get the email. I'll email Ray some of these questions and things that we want to materials he sends, and so I'll get to everybody else, so that way we'll kind of put it all together, and I'll have it in our Google.
I think Joe had a question, Rob, real quick. Joanna had one question.
No, actually, it's good. It's making more sense now. It's actually the way I wanted to do it with the tabs in the book, because just having to go through the book to familiarize yourself. And so I love how you just kind of walk through it, and that's really helpful. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have a smart question right now.
Okay, well, Ray, really appreciate you taking time for this, and volunteering for this too, because you reached back out to me after I'd lost touch, because we were doing the whole, we're getting our whole month out. March is our busiest month as a division, so we just absolutely went off there. But hope to have you back again for this, as we can ask
absolutely
for stuff, and that's amazing. You're our first official guest for this. We have a few more people lined up coming up, but you're gonna be tough to beat.
Well, if there's any questions, Rob's got my phone number, guys. Martin, I just sent you a friend request on Facebook. You're good there. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know. I mean, we learn from each other.
Ray, you're awesome. You're awesome, Ray. You've inspired us. Thank you, Rob, for having him. Ray, I'm giving you 2 thumbs up, even though you can't see it. Woo, woo.
All
And
right.
go visit your clients in Virginia.
He can. He's a dual rep. He's one of the few in ever. So
Yeah, definitely. You're leaving money on the table, my man.
why not?
I will do US and Canada now that I've talked to you, Ray. Thank you.
Absolutely.
No email numbers.
Okay.
No email.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Okay, but
So back to this here. So there's 3 sections to the script. Last month we focused on the beginning, which was just basically the whole setup, covers basically the first 4 steps of making a sale, right? All the way up to building value, about the guarantee, all the emotions, and so we're bringing up because people buy an emotion and justify with logic, right? So they get emotional about stuff they've done in the past and how that's a problem and how we're going to solve it. The logic comes into place by showing them what pieces they're going to use, which is the second step. Okay. Step 2 here is going through options. Okay, so we're gonna give them the logic of like, hey, this is why you want a complete set, and they're thinking, yeah, I've always wanted a good set of knives. That's all the logic right there. You know, of I deserve this, I should have it. And then step 3 is a close. So we're gonna spend today on the third part, okay, which is the longest part. But as I've discovered as I've gone through it, a lot of key phrases help people. You're framing them on the entire set, okay? So, starting off, it's Mrs. Jones, it's your kitchen, not mine. When you guys think about a set that you would have for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you'll eventually pass down, do you think you get more value out of something basic, something more family, or complete? And it's important you do bottom up. You never start from the top down because they'll always pick usually the last option, right? So we don't say complete, family, basic. We say basic, family, complete. Okay, and most of them are gonna pick something relatively quick. If they're hesitating, like meaning more than 3, 4 seconds or more, and they're kind of humming hawing or they're talking to each other. Hey, do you want me to show you the differences between the basic and the family, or the family and the complete? Right? See, and you show the pamphlet because you realize we're just selling from a pamphlet now. We didn't bring out all these knives and show them, right? We went from the pamphlet. Okay, so then they pick one. Hey, great choice. Now I'm curious, Mrs. Jones, have you ever gone and priced out high quality knives before? Sounds familiar? Right. So just give you an idea or a little bit of a refresher of what things cost. Have you heard of Williams Sonoma or Pottery Barn? Okay, and then we say, so if you had, and you could say the Bay, right? Mrs. Jones, you shopped at Williams Sonoma before or the Bay. So if you were to do shopping around for nice set of knives, you'll usually run into a few different brands. So then that's where we have the price comparison sheets. Now I am currently working on finding the Canadian prices. They do exist. We have them because in the reps binders in Canada. I need to find a way to get that page, and I will get Vast Action to put it into the sheets for us for Canada. Okay, so give me a week. All right, I'm on it. So you show the comparison between Shun and Wusthof. There's Wusthof and Shun. Have you heard of these brands before? So I just I just wanted to show you these prices. So these guys are German. They'll run you anywhere from $2,800 to $3,000, and these are Japanese, and they run anywhere from $335 to $4,000. By the way, these are really good brands. And Cutco didn't exist, I would probably have one of these sets. You never crap on your competition when you're building value because you're supposed to try to do closest competition to you. You have to build value on the other brands and say they're really good. They're really good because then you're going to bring in the butt. Okay. Now there are some really big differences. So first of all, you'll notice that they have mostly straight edges, so they have to be sharpened all the time, which is a real hassle. They're not dishwasher safe, so they got to be hand washed. So you have to hand wash them, so they're really high maintenance. And when you're paying $2,000 for or $3,000 for a certain knife, what kind of guarantee would you want to come with it? Right? Yeah, exactly. Or they say something, yeah, something, right? But guess what kind of guarantee you do get? Literally nothing. So if you break a knife, you're out of luck. You got to buy a new one. Whereas Cutco, we're American made. Before that, we talked about before about like trying to stray away from American made because we're Canadian. Guys, what I found, that is such a limiting belief we've had in Canada for decades. Nobody cares. We can say American made. It's not a big deal. Okay, it mattered between the years of 2017 and 2020. You can guess why. But after that, it has not mattered one bit. Has anybody ever had someone object to you? Like regularly, people object to you saying, oh, it's American made. Ugh. not really a thing. Okay. So we can say that they feel comforted just like Americans do. We're dishwasher safe, we're low maintenance, and we have a forever guarantee. So if you break a knife, if you chip one, crack one, if you need them sharpened, we cover it. And actually, check this out. So then now you bring up the invoice. That should be in the next page, right? So you have the invoice to show this is one of our, this was a client of ours. She had her knives for 35 years. Check it out. She sent them into the factory. Some of them were sharpened. We sharpened. The rest of them were so dull and worn out that we just replaced them. And she paid, all she paid was $11 for shipping after 35 years. So, and then look at this. These are the people who stopped by recent events to tell them how long they've had Cutco. So this part right here, it's important to have testimonials. That's why I have my book. And then in your booklet, as we keep adding, if you need more sheets, guys, I will give you a sheet if you need one. Okay, because you should be getting your own anyway, but that, or even the board. Board is a great visualization as well. And I will give credit to Carl. Carl is excellent at asking people to sign the binder. And I am likely the worst on the planet at asking to sign the binder, even though it's my binder. Okay. But get everyone, as Ray mentioned before, everyone signs a testimonial, everyone signs up for service. Okay. Anyway, so, and their favorite thing about the product, the most common thing we hear is the quality, the sharpness, and of course the service. Okay. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. All right. Yeah, so they really are one and done set. What's really great though with Cutco, because we don't sell in stores like these guys, we can offer better quality for much better value price wise. Okay, important to say the word value. We didn't say it's a better price. Their expectations need to still be up here. Okay. Not to mention the guarantee, unique features, and all that. You'd expect it to be more, if not twice the price. But the great thing is, the complete set normally is, and you tell them the price, our package price is blank. Okay. The great thing about the set of Cutco, most heavily discounted package, because they know that most people are going to end up with the set eventually. So they basically just incentivize you to get it all done in one swipe. So then what's really great is, because we know that no one really has a budget for this kind of thing, it's never planned purchase. I've been doing this for 20 something years, and I've never met someone who came to the show expecting to spend, several grand on new knives. Okay. So what you did there is you cut off the objection at the curb, right? Because, well, we weren't really thinking about this. You say, yeah, I know. I just told you, no one does. So that's why we give this option. Best time to handle an objection is what? Before it comes up, right? So this thing is littered with that of fear bubble popping. Okay, popping fear, you know what I meant. Okay, all right. So what we're doing is allow you to split over 5 months interest free. It's literally 1/5 of the price, once a month for 5 months. There's no interest, no credit check. You don't pay more for splitting it. You can mention the $2. Yeah, it's like $2 a month. It's literally just 1/5 of the price. So it's only X amount today. So it's like a nice car payment. You got to come up with equivalent, right? We could discuss that. So yeah, if it's an ultimate or a signature, you could say it's like a nice car payment a month. Okay. If it's what homemakers, it's $3.90 a month. We could call that what? It's like an extra Costco bill a month, right? That's not crazy. Right, so it's just like a car payment once a month for the next 5 months. But instead of doing it for 5 years, then just trading it in and starting all over again, this is only 5 months, and then you never have to deal with buying knives ever again. I also forgot to show you. Do you guys ever use scissors at home? So you didn't bring in the scissors, right? You do the whole demo of the scissors. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So, Mrs. Jones, I'm just curious. If you had to set at home, this is the pre-close. Do you think you'd get some pretty practical use and buy out of this for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Why that's called the pre-close helps you gauge where the customer is thinking before you ask them to buy. Okay? So that line is super important. Because you ever notice before you got this part memorized, guys, when you're asking them to buy, it's kind of awkward asking them, what do you think? Right. This is the pre-close to set up the close. Okay. So if you really want to, is it something we could swing, or would that be pushing the envelope at all? And ask that confidently. Notice my tone didn't go up, because when you're not confident, we go, or is that pushing the envelope at all? That's not confident. Hey, is it something you could swing today, or is that pushing the envelope at all? Direct. Give them invitation to say yes or no to you. Okay. And do it that way. And little tip for you here, it doesn't matter what they say if it's not a yes. It doesn't matter, guys. Okay? I have done this experiment enough times the last month practicing this. If it's a yes, do your business, write the order. If it's anything other than I don't like it and I don't want it, you're not done. Does that make sense, everyone? It does not matter. Notice I didn't say need. If I don't really need this today. Need is not a reason people don't buy Cutco. Okay? It doesn't matter. All need to you means it's too expensive right now. That's all that means. This person came up to your booth. You already qualified questions. Are you looking for good knives? All that stuff. Yeah, I'm looking for. Yeah, I hate my knives. Yes, you need Cutco. Okay, not that that's why they're buying, but it's a want situation, right? So we're not at all flustered because I know when I started this approach back in the at end of February with Carl, when someone's like, oh, it's a lot, you know what, we're going to think about whatever. Yeah, I'll try to write down and leave it there. No, no, no. What's the next step? Drop down. Okay? Drop down. Got to get to the next option. But anyway, we're going to practice this part. We'll do the drop down afterwards. Okay? We're just going to read. We're going to break into 2 sections, guys. Okay? So you read from, so it's your kitchen, not mine, all the way to where it says where you show the happy customer list. Okay, so just the first page and a bit there. All right, everybody. So Carl and I will practice here. Martin, Joanna, you two sit down together. And when I say really role play, guys, actually really role play. Okay.